All right, welcome to the day. It's the day after Mother's Day, 5/11, and our sponsor today is Spirit Airlines. Gemini, I asked it what I need to do today. It gave me, I asked it to give me like a day plan, like by hour roughly. And then Gemini connected also to my calendar, I asked it to, and had it put all these things in my calendar. And this is podcast time. I think this was pretty good start. I think it got me a good day. A couple of days ago, it said I should hang out with my dogs, and it told me to hang out with a dog that was dead. So that was a little bit tough. Not great job, Gemini. And now my day has a bunch of blocks, and the calendar shows it's full. So that is a little. I'm not sure if it's stressful. And so yesterday, quick personal items. It was Mother's Day. I love my parents. They're both hilarious. They have their own kind of brand situations. I'm sure you have the things that your parents do that just crack you up. And for me today, yesterday, one of the ones I really liked. So my dad has to kind of say everything, and that's very common in my family. We joke, and I think it's from a movie like, "Why use 10 words when 1,000 words will do the job?" And so, and the texting limits him, which is great. He sent me a message like, "Hey, I'm sending over flowers," and then eventually, not even eventually, again, it's texting. It limited him. He says, your wife can have, one of them, and then the other one's for your sister because it was easier to send them to my house. And I was like, okay, so maybe one's pink and one's red or whatever. They show up and they're both purple and white flowers. And when you order someone to bring you something, it's not like one of them's going to be drastically different. The same person is picking out, oh, here's a flower, and then sets them on your doorstep. So it seemed kind of odd to me. Like, okay, Dad, that's thanks for the plan. We took my mom out to lunch, or she took us out. I don't know. I'm not sure who paid because I was sitting there somewhere else. And fast casual place, which someday we'll probably have a conversation about. I'm not sure if we talked about Panera yet. Afterwards, my mom nearly got in the wrong car. She walked up to a car, pulled like the door handle, and it was not her husband. It was not her car. And the guy kind of looked at it like, "What is going on?" That's very much a mom thing to do for me. My mom's really smart. My mom does a lot of things that are really smart, and there's also just things that every person does that are hilarious. And I probably at her age will do something like that. Okay, so YouTube video to watch. What you should check out: Metalball Studios. If you've never seen that, it's like real scale of things. The camera goes by across a bunch of stuff, starting with smallest to largest. So Halo, real scale in 3D. Metalball Studios. If you know the game, then you'll kind of understand. It goes from like the Magnum pistol all the way up through the different Halos to the Arc, and it's pretty cool. The channel Metal Ball, I don't know what you would call him, does a ton of these. So if there's anything you like, architecture, holes in the ground, I don't know, there's tons of them. You should check that out, and you'll find some that are fun, worth watching. Business Insider did the rise and fall of Spirit Airlines. I think I've mentioned Company Man before, and I think I'll probably keep mentioning those because there's so many of them. He also did a Spirit Airlines. I think his is called like What Went Wrong. The Tech Report, they've been having a guy, Ed Zitron, Zitron, on a couple times. I think his stuff is good when he's on there. Kind of the same topic over and over again, like finance with AI, with how is OpenAI going to scale? Which his theory, his analysis is it can't, and it's in too much debt and owes too much money, has too many commitments. I think it's a really good thing, especially if you're hearing like, hey, AI is like people have AI fatigue, or they feel like it's overevaluated. I think his stuff has not just made up things. I think he does a good job when he's on that show. Sam Sports News today. NBA wants to stop tanking, and that's silly because the best teams in the league got good by tanking and drafting good players. My take on that is we should have, I don't even care. Someone should really think about how we do this because the new plan isn't good. And I think that the best way to do it is to turn it into some sort of betting game that you can bet on in like DraftKings or something. Because then someone would figure out something good because everybody in the NBA just loves betting and they have a problem, which we'll talk about again someday. LIV Tour running out of money is funny to me. That's the Saudi golf one. Avalanche better win tonight or panic in the Mile High City. The Rockies are better than last year, but they are still really bad, which I feel like is a phrase you can probably say almost every year or every other year with the Rockies. Better than last year, but they are still really bad, or worse than last year, and that's also still bad. So, talking today about anecdotal evidence and looking at that and a couple different things, mainly versus though medicine. So macroeconomics is a really good one. It's kind of the one we all see every day, and this is a lot of where our way of using anecdotal evidence comes into play that is actually valuable. Whereas with medicine, and we'll talk about it, in a second here, it's very, very bad. It can lead to drastically bad conclusions. So, ones we see every day: bread, butter, milk, price of gas. Our anecdotal evidence is that we can consider saying this to someone else, about someone else, to ourselves. We hear it a lot on the news. These are values and information that is somewhat standardized and, again, macro, right? It's a big picture. So, I may not know something specifically about you or a friend, right? But I'm closer to being on the whole correct rather than if I'm looking at something anecdotally in medicine, right? Because anecdotally in my life around money, I have a better understanding of things. So I can say or talk to a friend and learn, hey, this is how much they pay for daycare. I know they have 2 kids in daycare. I can guess the amount of money that they make a year and I can say, how are they affording daycare right now? So, in relation to that, if in medicine, and this is where a lot of our like mixed up thinking comes from in medicine. I'm not trying to hate on anti-vaxxers or people who believe water is bad or you should drink your own pee, whatever it might be. Let's say I have a friend who's taking something. We'll go with 2 friends just to kind of make sure we understand that this is an anecdotal piece, right? So I have a couple boomer friends that are Karens. Everybody calls them Karens, and they're like, "Well, I don't want to be a Karen anymore." So they start taking a pill to help them not be a Karen. And the first friend says, "I'm tired. People don't see that I'm much less of a Karen, so I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to stop taking it." My next parent, Karen, says, "Everybody says that I'm still a Karen. I don't think I'm any less a Karen, and I also have a mild case of vampirism. So, or just something insane." So I'm gonna say to myself, "Wow, this pill is not good." And then I hear later both my Karen friends say I stopped taking it and I'm less vampiric and I have more energy. So I'm gonna say, like, not taking this pill, this anti Karen pill, is very bad. And I'm going to say to people, like, don't take this pill, even though I have no real understanding of how this pill should work. Mechanism of how a pill should work is something that I think I don't understand, and probably I'll cover someday. I'll put that on one of the previews or something. And we do this all over the place. I think medicine is the one that is worse than anything else for how we use this anecdotal evidence. Maybe racism is another good one, right? But medicine, racism also very bad. But medicine, we're telling people to make bad decisions with their bodies. I think another good one that I don't think there's a bunch of anecdotal piece in this, but it is kind of a funny story. Someone also, I think, in a Bible study, got breast implants, and somehow later in life, one popped or something like that, got infected, but also doesn't believe in flu vaccines. They think those don't help at all, and they would never put that in their body, sort of thing. And it's like, well, uh, you're looking at things to put in your body, and I think you're making bad choices, maybe, in terms of how effective ones might be, depending on the effect you're looking for, and anecdotally your response to it. Previews on some stuff. Let's see. Sphere movie and book. I've mentioned that private equity might be a couple of talks. Redemption, I've talked about how that's bad. I'll get into a old one. Dave Filoni with Star Wars. I think he's running out of ideas. We'll talk about economic pressures that are concerning over maybe the next year, really. And they were concerning before there was starting to become an energy shortage or crisis, however you want to talk about it. And coming back to it from yesterday, the N word guy from GTA 5 is Lamar Davis. So someone just wanted me to clarify that. And historically, I've put a song at the end of these, but I can't do that with a YouTube one. So if you're going into the song, then the song today is Downeaster Alexa, Billy Joel, May 1990, The Hit Factory, and the album is Stormfront. So check that one out, and that would be the end.